Hey everyone, this is Patricia down at Traveling for History. I'm at the Salisbury Fish Culture Station in Salisbury, Vermont, and Alan Moorhouse is going to be talking about this area down here in the basement, which is pretty cool. And that tub right there, we're going to step over that.
So this would be our normal disinfection bath that we use for, I was talking more about biosecurity, keeping diseases out of the hatchery, but I know Patricia isn't bringing any diseases. That's why we normally have this area closed to public, so it's really good to see this.
Wow.
So this is all historic. These raceways. These were built, I think, I'd say in the 60s. This pipe's been here long, and this is our water supply coming in. And that may be original. I'm not sure. I know there was wooden raceways in here years ago, but this is it. I think they put this girder in after the fact. I think they built this and then realized it was a sag, and they put a girder in. So I think they put stuff together and said, "Oh, we got to fix things." We don't use those radiators anymore. We used to have, a boiler, downstairs. We had radiators on this side, and we took those out. But still have original paint on that side. And one of our previous bosses started wanting to paint that. We had to redo it all.
So what were the radiators for? Heating? What were they heating?
This was heating this area. Yeah.
Oh.
It didn't really heat that well. There's a lot of gas in our. See, our water supply is all well water now. And the thing is, if you're pumping a well water source, you get a lot of nitrogen gas, which is not good for the fish. That's why you have all these towers and different arrangements. They're always trying different things. So we have to actually add that orange line there is pure oxygen. We have an oxygen tower over here. We got pure oxygen running everywhere, and so we have that. That helps degas nitrogen gas in the water. Normally, a waterfall system like just like a cascade of water down like a pipe, an open pipe, and just breaking it apart would help. But that was the old school method. Now we're just putting directing the oxygen in there, so it'll blow off the nitrogen gas. So now but the problem with that is now we're relying on that oxygen. So like before, the way if something shuts off down here, I can't take that pipe apart and get water to break up into that tank. I'm relying on that oxygen. So it's another thing, part of old school fish culture versus new school fish culture. You might make it more better, for raising fish, but then you're relying on the oxygen guy to show up. The guy with the liquid oxygen tank to drive up there, and he's going to Middlebury and he's going here.
Wow.
Because they use it at the hospital.
So this is pure oxygen.
This is pure oxygen.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a liquid tank. It's a liquid oxygen tank. So it comes in liquid form, and it just vents off. And it comes in over there, and we have it go underneath the road and pops in over there. I'll show you. I cut that line.
Wow.
Yeah, and we used to have tanks. You could get smaller mobile tanks that you could get dropped off here on air gas. The local company air gas was dropping off in the front, and we have oxygen lines. So we have oxygen lines running from there up to our upper raceways up there and across the road. We got those across the road. There was a pipe going underneath the road, just a PVC pipe, and we sealed it off one side, put a vacuum on the other side, took some fishing line and a little piece of styrofoam, put that in the fishing line, and had the vacuum suck the fishing line through.
Suck the what?
Suck the fishing line through with the little piece of styrofoam ball through this pipe. So then we had a string. In essence, we had the fishing line through this pipe under the ground, under the road, and then we took a piece of other rope, ran that through, and then we took the oxygen line, which at that point was sugar tubing, and we ran that underneath, and then we got oxygen across the road.
Well, that's amazing. I love it.
And without having to dig up the road, we were lucky that there was a hole there.
Wow.
Where there was a pipe going under there.
Why is there a fan?
Okay.
Blowing?
So this building, if you see, it's under grade a little bit. This is built in the ground.
Right.
I don't know if they did that just for gravity purposes. A lot of historic hatcheries, the best hatchery in the world is you get a good water source up there, and you got a hill, and you put your hatchery down the hill, boom, 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 and it's all gravity feed. That'd be considered a gravity feed hatchery. You don't have to pump anything.
Saves money.
It's money. Once you start saying, "Oh, let's put the raceways up on the hill there," you start pumping up the hill. So I think this might have been built below grade, but this gets really. This water is like 48 degrees, so it's cold. It's it's coming in here cold, and it just we get a lot of condensation in here during the summer. It's going to be terrible. We don't open windows up because it would just bring in hot air, and it would just start raining in here. And it's all wood. This is all a lot of this is wood and other stuff. So it just we painted these. These were like mildews covered like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. All these walls were mildew. All these ceilings were mildew covered. We hand scrubbed them and then we repainted them. And now we've just been running fans. We had a bunch of fans, but since we took out these radiators, we didn't have anything to hang the fans on. So and we got this is a new system since our radiator system, which is fuel oil, got flooded out. We went to a propane system. So now we have propane. We set upstairs is propane. It's a propane boiler for upstairs for those radiators. But down here we went with just a forced hot air. So we have 2 units, 2 York propane furnaces up in the attic. This attic space above here, and these 2 ductworks. So
and this is the ductwork.
Yeah, that's the ductwork.
It'll
pop on here in a second. It's pretty neat. And it's got a hole in the side. Yeah, it'll pop up. Right there. But that door open, it'll pop up.
So with all these, what are all the electrical cords for?
So, so we've got electrical right all over the place. They're probably all coming in over there. Yeah, but this is all, well, it's actually all coming from my house. We got we have electrical drops up there. And we got electricity over there. So most of this is just, we don't need, the only electricity we run is these guys, the lights. This is all just, pumped water coming in here. Gravity down there, it goes under the floor, it goes straight down there.
Are these brushes for cleaning the tanks?
Yes, each individual tank.
And you would not use that brush in this one?
Actually, I could. These are shared. Technically, we're trying to keep them separate. But even in a situation like this with water splashing, diseases will still spread. We try to minimize it. But yeah, if you get a tank that flares up with a disease, which we rarely have, then you can say, all right, this is isolated. We're not going to, definitely don't use a brush. So we're trying to minimize that by having this. And we have a disinfection bath in that tub right there. That will disinfect the brush.
This here?
Yeah.
Well.
And so we'll just use that, we use a brush, dump it in there, so just keep it fairly clean. And anything on the floor, we figure is contaminated. This floor will flood. We get water that will come in. There's dirt right there. Past where those windows are right at dirt, just like these. And that, those are higher up than these. So there's dirt back there. There's a hill right there. So we got some cracks and crevices, and we got water that comes in. That's the whole facility. This is all, this is all 30s. And these were probably built in this. I think these were built in the 60s. I think maybe when they modernized and redid the well source, they probably did that. So
the fish are sort of hanging out underneath the cover there. Are they shy?
Yes, they prefer, when the fish are younger, they generally like to be undercover. They're young fish, they're scared. I mean, like I talked about domestication before, some fish are more skittish than others. So, you truly domesticated fish won't be undercover. I don't think we have some fish that are kind of domesticated. Most of the fish in here are more of a wild fish. It's good. But like the browns, they like some cover. They like to be undercover, so we'll cover them partially. And we try to train them to be outside too. So we want to give them sunlight because these guys will get sunburned. These actually are prone to get sunburned. But these guys are probably going to go out next week. We should have moved these earlier. They're getting up to size. Where normally they're outside when they're like 4 inches long. And then these fish will get grown out. And these will be a yearling this coming spring. We'll be calling these as a yearling. So we'd stock some out as a yearling and then keep some as a trophy trout and stock them as a 15-year-old. And the remainder would be our brood stock that we'd spawn until as a 3 and a 4-year-old. So these fish are going to be our future breed as well as some production fish. And they're like 7. I'd say they're about 7 inches long.
These over here look a little smaller than that.
It could be, yeah.
So I was wondering if...
They're the same fish.
They're the same fish.
They're the same fish, but we might have just... I don't know if we split them evenly. We might have just eyeballed it. We're doing 10 nets. Look at the tank and say, hey, it's about right.
Well...
Yeah, so we do a lot of things with science, and sometimes we do things just by eye. It'll all figure itself out.
Are they all the same fish down here?
Nope, I'll show you. So these are browns. I'll bring you to our new fish. This is not about the color. We've got raceway here with fish in it. Those are the magog steelhead. And see, I got them covered a little more. They're really, you can walk up to them. These fish are really a lot more skinny.
Oh, yes, I scared them. I'm sorry.
That's what they do. These are wild fish. These are more of the wild fish. These are the fish I'm telling you about that were tagged and had the pedigree mating that I had to do with tags. These are progeny from those fish. We've had these magog steelhead in the hatchery, this newer line, probably since early 2000s, I think, when I was doing that study. And they're doing pretty good. They're still skittish. They still, they grow okay. We can get them up to like 6-7 inches in about a year. We really push them hard though. You got the 2 feeders on there, keep them covered. We keep these inside, actually. They need to stock them out.
Oh, wow.
If we're stocking them out, we rarely put them outside because once they're outside, they're racing all over the place. And, it's throwing food at them and they're going the other direction. It's not great for culture, but it's what the fish we want. We want these fish to survive in the wild and grow and become a decent fish. These are the Eagle Lake rainbows. They're a little more domesticated. These are the new rainbow string. They still like hanging out under the covers, but they're a little more receptive to food. We're training these. These are like 3 races with these guys. We're trying to get these really responsive to food. The size is all over the place. The big fish, little fish, that's why some of the genetics. Just some wild genetics in there, variability. They're not all cookie cutter. That's another thing with your wild fish. Shouldn't be all cookie cutter. There's still some variability. They have been selected in a hatchery for a consistent size. So, but they still grow pretty good. These fish are different because they spawn right now for us. November, December, January. So for us, we can get them up to the 10-inch size in like that year that we need to get them. These will be stocked this time. These were taken as eggs last year. So we got to stock these this coming spring. So it's going to be just over a year. We're just barely pushing them to 10. Roxbury gets these eggs too. They can hit the 10 by April. The other hatcheries, we actually have to get the eggs out in summer out of these fish. So we'll show you that in a little bit.
So is there an equal amount in these, or these guys just skittish?
There's more in these two than that one. I say there's 1,000 fish in here. I write it down, but I split these. When I split these, 2,000. I split these by eye.
Okay.
I didn't have close. They're close enough because hopefully we're going to move these soon. We need to get these outside.
And what kind are these?
These are the same fish. These are all the Eagle Lake rainbows.
Oh, okay. They certainly don't seem nearly as skittish as those other guys.
The first one's the brown.
The magogs?
The first one is browns. Those fish, the rainbows outside are the rainbow that I compare these to are about the same size as those browns. These are smaller than my Irwin or Lee rainbows that were taken as a summer egg. So just a few months growth. Like those browns are taken as summer fish. So those fish are summer spawn. These are like a winter spawn. So, there's your difference in size right there, even though they're different strains. I'll show you on some of the little fish down here that like. I have eggs right now of fish I just took that I'm going to show you. And here's the circular. These are the circular ones. These are little brown trout. These are going to be the size of those first fish you came to. These are going to be the same size next year. These are browns taken this summer. These are summer fish. These fish were taken in June. This is, we use the Lighthouse program. There's my feeder. These fish were taken as eggs in July, early July. And now they're on feed. Now, if I had taken these fish in November, which is when the browns normally spawn, they'd still be eggs. They'd still be incubated. So I've already got these guys on feed. They're already an inch big. So I've already advanced their life a bit to where I'm going to get a bigger product. I need these fish a certain size. So that's where I'm with manipulating lights, not doing any kind of genetic stuff, but actually just manipulating the lights on the fish. And I'll show you that across the road. is where I get these bigger eggs. You know, I get these earlier eggs. They're several months earlier. I'll spawn it in June and July, August in the lighthouse, and then, you know, in the fall I'll get, you know, fish I don't need to grow up to size. I'll be taking it in the fall, like the brookies. I take brookies in the fall. There's our modern duckboard.
The sound you just heard, folks, was the bags inflating.
A modern heating system.
Only one side.
Yes. I have this one on, there's two different, this one's actually on that thermostat, and this one's on a thermostat up by the stairs. And these are kept fairly dark too. They like the hunter over there.
If I turn on my lights to take a photo, is that right?
Correct. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, much better. Thank you. Wow.
And then we got over here, we got some other ones that are a little younger.
Wow. I love the infrastructure here.
We've got a lot of different things going on. And we were planning on, and we have two of these that are empty, but these are the older tanks. These are some more eagle eggs we have. These are taken, these are summer fish.
Wow, look how little they are.
Yeah, so these are summer fish. Now, these are summer eagle eggs. We took these from eggs in September, August actually. We take eagle eggs right now. The first spawn we do on eagle eggs, from the younger eagle eggs, we just cook. They're still eggs. You know, so there's your advancing. So these are all summer fish.
So would it matter if you, probably would, but would it matter if you mixed the summer fish and the winter fish spawning?
Together?
Yeah.
Well, as a fish at this stage, or as a spawn? At this stage, it wouldn't matter. They would have. Okay. If I could get them, if the size was about the same, probably the summer fish probably eat the winter fish.
Oh.
Because these fish might be already this big, and if you mix them together, you're gonna have that big variability in size. So, but like if you could manipulate the time, well, this is the funny thing. It's all about timing. Like even like this, you know, I'm manipulating these by light cycle. So like. At some point, if, you know, these fish were summer fish, like these are young fish. Even though I took them in the summer, they're still going to spawn in the fall. They're still going to spawn in November outside. So like these fish, these I didn't, these are just extras. I took these, but if, like I take my brood line, if I take it, like my brown trout, I take out of a summer brood line. My brook trout, they're a fall brood line right now. Those are fall brookies. I took these, these are summer brookies. My fall brookies are still eggs. These are summer brookies. So these guys, I historically have these guys, usually these are a brood line. These are brookies, these are brook trout for yearlings. These are going to almost be 2 years old when I stock them. So these fish, I take them as out of the eggs in the summer in our lighthouse. But I will spawn these in the fall when they're 2 years old. So it doesn't. If any kind of effect on those, it might advance them because they're a little older. So they're like, hey, I'm mature, I can spawn, and it might help them, produce their eggs and sperm a lot better because they're a little bit older. But probably not. I mean, I haven't studied it enough to say, oh yeah, that definitely advances them. But those fish will still spawn in the fall. I have to actually manipulate them to spawn in the summer by putting them in the lighthouse. So I spawn, like these fish I would take and spawn them as a 2-year-old, in November, and then I would leave them, they actually would be in the lighthouse at the time, but I'd have them under a natural photo care, when it's like outside 9 hours, 8-9 hours. I would spawn them out, and then by beginning of January, I turn them up to 15, 16 hours of life. So they go up to summertime. 16 hours is like the longest day up in Vermont. Maybe on 16 hours of light until like end of February. Then I start slowing, ramping. February, March, I start slowly ramping it down. So I spawn them in July. And they're going to be at, 12 hours of light, 11 hours of light. And they'll spawn again. And they would spawn them. I'm getting the spawn out of them in another 6 months. Not another year. I'm actually, I'm getting them cleaned up by January, and then it's like, February, March, April, May, June, we're like 6 months. and I'm taking eggs out of them again. Not 12 months, I'm doing 6 months.
Wow.
Now, if they were outside, yeah, I'd be spawning them again in that November. I'd spawn in November, and then the next year I'd spawn them in November. Sometimes the older they get, they might advance a week or two, so you might get a little more of an advance. But if you really want to manipulate your timing, like do your timing, you might take the early run or the late run. That's where a lot of these spawns, you got to be careful. Like if you take all your brood line out of the beginning of the run, or you can actually shift them. Like, it's harder to do with the brookies and the browns for whatever reason. With the rainbows, that's how we got rainbows to spawn in the middle of summer. Not here. We got eggs from Tennessee. They spawned them in July, outside. And we got the eggs in August, and they spawn in August, which normally those fish would be a summer spawn or a spring spawn. So, it's just, and that's just by selective breeding, getting early rainbows or late rainbows from whatever lines they have. But for some reason they can't do it with the brookies, the Lakers, all of they just spawn and they spawn.
And what is spawning?
Taking eggs.
Taking
breeding.
eggs. Okay. All right.
And yeah, you wanted to show. I can show you that when we get out to an actual spawning area. But let me go to the next. I'll show you some eggs. We're going down. The little itty bitty one. So take a. I'll go this way.
Oh wow.
So this is our egg incubation room. Now, if you look, we have. This used to have raceways like in there. If you went up and see the floor is elevated, this used to have the floor was the same grade as that. We had these concrete. This is a part of a raceway wall right here. So we had this floor poured in like 96, 97, 96. Now the first year I was here, we were building a modern facility because in 91 we switched over to being a broodstock hatchery to supply eggs to all the other state hatcheries. So we were, had incubators in that room next to fish, things we should have been doing biosecurity-wise. We try to keep this fairly clean. These eggs come in disinfected, they go in these tanks, we disinfect them with iodine, like after we've taken the egg. And that kills anything on the outside of the egg, and we actually water harden them, which is the process. We take the eggs out of the fish, it's almost like they're soft, like oatmeal, but they will harden up and be like, like a little bouncy ball at the end of like 2 hours. You can really take the egg and bounce them on the table.
Wow.
So the eggs are really, and that's a handling. And so at that point, we'll actually be water hardening them in iodine, which they'll actually absorb some of the iodine that will kill things in the egg, like parasites and things, and viruses, like I was talking about the lake trout virus thing. That's what we try to do with if you took eggs out of the lake, is do these trials and see if does this work, does this kill this. So this is where we do it here. We're taking our eggs, disinfecting them, even though we know our fish are clean, or even if they aren't, we're still just doing it just in case. They water harden that iodine, then they come in here, they'll incubate in these drawers. They're a drawer incubator. These are the ones they're open right now. You can see it's just like a basket. It's a drawer system with a little basket insert. We'll have a cover, and I'll show you another one. They'll go in that. We'll incubate depending on the strain of fish. Some fish have a longer incubation period than others. The rainbows are really fast because they're a spring spawner, and they're usually incubating in the gravel in the streams, and then they're hatching out and going on feed in the summertime. While the rainbows, it seems the brookies, browns, and Lakers are fall spawner. They're actually incubating throughout the wintertime. Salmon, they're incubating the water. They're going to spawn in like October, November. Those eggs got to sit there until like springtime. So they just, I think the natural history of those fish, they generally incubate longer. So for us, our water temperature is constant. So instead of incubating for like months, we've got a month and a half, for like the Lakers. The rainbows in 28 days, I better be processing those eggs and getting them out because by 36 days, 38 days, they're hatching at my water temperature.
Wow.
My water temperature is really cold, but other hatchers, if they want to manipulate when they hatch, they'll chill them. They'll actually put them on a chiller that will chill that, or their water's colder, and they'll keep them in the upper 30s, low 40s, and they can prolong that time that they need for those to hatch. Like I send eggs to the Trout in the Classroom program. I send them over to Roxbury, and I send him eggs that are what I consider green. They're fertilized, but they're not incubated. I've taken those eggs, I've fertilized them, I've iodined them, and water hardened them so they're nice and they're strong eggs. They're not soft anymore. And then I'm shipping them that day, which you'll have some mortality. They shipped over there. Then they incubate them at their facility under cooler water, because he wants them to be eyed up like after, like he's trying the classroom, so it's when the kids come back and after the beginning of the year in January. He doesn't want those eggs in Christmas, you know, and I could send him eggs in Christmas, but he doesn't want them in Christmas. So he wants them eyed up there, so then he sends them to his classes, and then they can hatch them out in springtime and stock them and do whatever they want with them. So that's you know, where you get to manipulate the temperatures and spawn time. I got to spawn his fish in November. If I spawn, you know, so my birthday spawn in October, it's too early for him. So we're going to take the later spawn for him, and then, you know, but then he can still manipulate on his end with cooling the water. We could do it here. If we bought a chiller, we could chill stuff here, but we generally don't bother doing it. So anyway, this is talking all about eggs. I better go show you some eggs.
Yes. Oh, wow.
You can turn the light on if you want to.
Wow.
Now if you zip in real close, you can see eyes in those eggs.
Really?
And these are brook trout. This is our future brood line. These are fall brook trout, and like we were talking about in the spawn time, and these are going to spawn in 2 years from now. Hopefully around the same time I took them.
I don't know what I'm looking for to find eyes.
Let's see. Yeah, they're not that. There's one.
Yeah.
These little tiny 2 eyes.
Oh, wow.
They're not really strong.
Wow. Those little black dots.
They're little black dots.
We'll send them again.
And that's how we can tell they're viable eggs.
Wow. That's amazing.
Now this tray was before had like half of them were no good, half of them were white. They'll turn white when they're no good. Let me see if I can pull up another tray. Here, these white ones. So we have some of these when they're first eyeing up. You know, we'll tell this white ones. These are ones that are no good. They're popping. They're weak-eyed or they're just blanks. They don't have a fish in there. And they just kind of do that, and I have to hand pick these out every day. But that's what they'll look like. They'll just be like a white egg, just like that, you know, with nothing in it. And
so when you pick them up by hand, you wear gloves.
Usually, usually I'm not. My hands are pretty good with temperature.
Oh, I meant.
And we're disinfected. And our hands are disinfected anyway. We try to keep ourselves fairly disinfected dealing with these eggs. And these eggs will go out disinfected too.
Well, I was wondering if there'd be any contamination in your hands.
As long as, I mean, if our hands are clean, I mean, if we, you know, I'm not going to go work on a gas engine and do it.
No.
But yeah.
No.
But no, generally we're working with fish, so we're just, other than, you know, a little bit of alcohol and drying our hands off is usually fine. They can handle quite a bit. You'd be surprised. But yeah, that's pretty much our system. Water comes in and goes down through the whole tray system, and we load these up. You know, those are light actually. Usually we have like a liter and a half of eggs in each tray.
Wow.
Depending on the size of the eggs, I'll show you the rainbows we just took. So you saw those. These
Is water, fresh water done?
fresh water's coming in through here. Water's coming in here. There's a big tank there. Water gets degassed in that tank. And then it goes, all this piping, and whoop, drops in here. I have these 2 things running. Those are empty. These 2 things running, and these all drop down in a valve here. I have all these set at like 4 gallons a minute. And then it goes down through here and goes to the top. This top tray is empty, and then this other one, I'll do this one. And these are not eyed yet, so they're really delicate. These were just taken last week. But this is what the rainbows look like. Yeah, when they're water hardened and like between like the first like 20 days or whatever but these are rainbow. They're bigger eggs, and I can't tell. There's no eyes in those yet because I'll need another week or so, and I'll be able to tell. I can take some of these right now and put them. I won't, but tomorrow I can take some of sacrifice some of these eggs, just a handful of them, put them in vinegar, and the backbone will show up as white after like about 5 minutes, and then I can say, oh, I got 10 eggs with backbone and then 5 eggs with her, and I can figure out a percentage of what I think is going to survive.
Wow.
And then I can make an estimate. Oh, I need to take more eggs, or oh, I'm good now. I can wait and do stuff.
So the white ones here, are these?
Those are dead. The white ones are dead.
Okay.
Now we have, after when these eye up, I will take these and run them through a manual picker and this big machine that will actually, you can put the eggs in and it reads them like a chicken egg. It has a light and an eye that will tell a clear, will shine a light through the egg, and if it doesn't shine through the light through the egg, it'll spit the bad eggs out into a different pile, and then just continue to feed the good eggs through. And it's an automatic egg picker for fish, and it's a $4,000 unit, but it works really well. Because normally we could take those and we actually salt float them. It's almost like cranberries. But the eyed eggs are more dense because there's a fish in there. It's developing the fish. It's turning into bone and everything else. That'll sink in a salt solution. While the white egg is dead, it's just fat. It's just it's going to float, and it'll just stay higher up because there's not this dense fish in it. And then you can scoop those off with a net, and then that's how we used to do stuff. And then we just hand pick after that. But there's a lot of, you got to get the solution just right, because those white eggs, eventually, if they're in that salt solution long enough, they'll sink. And then you have to do it all over again, but you have to wait a day or two. And you can only do it a couple of times. So that's our incubation system. We run this from mid-June until February. And 2 months, 2-3 months, we're free when we're out stocking, and then we're firing it up again.
Wow.
And we do both sides. We incubate. We do most of the trout eggs in the state of Vermont out of this facility. Other than a handful of lake trout eggs that the feds in Pittsford raise, all the trout, all the stock trout in the state of Vermont come from here.
Wow.
All of them. Other than maybe a few if they're collecting wild eggs out of Champlain or something, or for a program, or but everything else, brook trout, brown trout, all the rainbows, they're coming from here. So they're all incubated right here. And then they're shipped out, whenever. And we dial it in with people, some hatcheries want their eggs earlier and later, so we tell them, hey, we took eggs, we're going to give you this batch, we're going to give you that batch. So, we've been doing this long enough, we know exactly when people are getting their eggs.
Wow.
We just tell them, yep, expect this day, that day. We just started taking eggs, we can give you this second take, the first take, third take, whatever take you want. And we have to take, out of these fish, we have to take 250 pairs of fish. So we take 250 females, pair them with 250 males, and we usually incubate all those eggs. So generally, we need about 200 pairs worth of fish. Like if we do our math based on how many eggs come out of a female, which is usually pretty consistent, all right, we need to take 237 fish to hit our commitments based on how many we think we're going to eye up. That eye up is a percentage. Oh, we'll figure out we want 75% eye. We say 50% eye. Okay, we'll have enough extra. So we'll have extra eggs. We'll ship to other states if they need it. We'll call up other states. We have several other states that they get eggs from other facilities, like we used to do. They used to get eggs from, and I know several hatcheries that call up the same federal hatcheries we used to get eggs from to beg, borrow, and steal eggs. And I'm like, yeah, I got some.
Wow.
So we ship eggs locally to some hatcheries, and our private hatcheries get eggs from this as well. So if it's a private hatchery in the state, they're likely getting them from us. Or Maine. Maine is one place that does where we're allowed to import eggs from. But
wow.
That's pretty much it for inside.
It's amazing. And for the audience, what you don't know is how chilly it is in here.
Yeah. That's why we have the heaters.
Are the heaters with the humans?
Pretty much. This thing is on we have to get these switched. That one actually, I think is on that duct is on the upper one. Is on the upper thermostat. It needs to be on this one.
Wow.
So yeah, let's zip outside. We got some time.
This is Patricia, and I'm traveling for history. I'd like to thank Alan for this great tour of all these fish. and where they're hanging out. And until I see you again, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Bye now.